Ever wonder why some people always earn respect effortlessly? They're never interrupted. Their time is never wasted. So, what makes them different? I'm about to tell you something that's going to make you angry. The reason they get respect isn't because they're smarter, richer, or more successful than you. It's because they know one psychological principle that you've never been taught. A principle so simple yet so powerful that once you understand it, your entire life will change. Someone cuts in front of you in line and you say nothing. A friend cancels plans last minute for the third time and you just smile. Someone takes credit for your idea and you let it slide. You know what you're really doing? You're training people to walk all over you. But here's the shocking part. The people who never deal with this aren't avoiding it by accident. They're using a deep secret about human psychology that separates people who command respect from people who beg for approval. What if I told you that being liked is actually making you weak? That every time you try to please everyone, you're giving away your power? That the harder you chase approval, the less people actually respect you? This isn't feel-good advice. This is raw psychology that works every single time. By the end of this video, you'll understand why some people naturally command rooms while others disappear in them. And most importantly, how to become the person who never gets disrespected again. Are you ready to stop being everyone's backup plan and start being their first choice? Drop this affirmation in the comments. Respect over approval. Number 1. The hidden weakness of being liked. Every single person who's walked all over you has one thing in common. They knew you needed their approval more than they needed yours. Think about it. When was the last time someone truly respected a person who was desperate to be liked? Never. Because desperation has a smell, and everyone can sense it. What happens when you make being liked your priority? You become predictable. People know you'll smile even when they insult you. You'll agree even when they're wrong. You'll show up even when they don't respect your time. And once you're predictable, you become disposable. The harder you try to be liked, the less people actually like you. Think about the people you truly respect. Are they constantly seeking your approval, or do they seem completely fine without it? The truth is, people are drawn to those who don't need them. We want what we can't have and dismiss what comes too easy. One of history's greatest strategists once said, "It is better to be respected than loved if you cannot be both." Fear here doesn't mean terror. It means consequences. When people know there's a cost to crossing you, they treat you differently. Look at the people who command real respect in your life. Your toughest teacher, your strictest boss, that friend who always tells you the truth. What do they have in common? They don't need your approval to feel good about themselves. They have boundaries, and they enforce them. Meanwhile, the people pleasers get walked on, overlooked, and forgotten. Because when you make yourself available to everyone, you become special to no one. The people who benefit from your need to be liked don't actually respect you for it. Deep down, they see you as weak. They might smile to your face, but behind closed doors, they know you're the person they can count on to bend over backwards for scraps of attention. This is the trap that keeps millions powerless. They think being nice will earn them love and respect. But all it earns is being taken for granted. Because respect isn't given, it's commanded. And you can't command anything when you're begging for approval. Drop this affirmation in the comments. I choose power. Number 2, the dark power of respect. Now that you understand why being liked is sabotaging your life, let's talk about what really works. Respect. Not the fake respect people give when they're being polite. I'm talking about the deep, instinctive respect that makes people think twice before they mess with you. Respect is built on one simple principle: consequence. When people know that crossing you will cost them something, they don't cross you. But when people know they can walk all over you without pushback, they will. This is where most people get it wrong. They think respect comes from being impressive or talented, but that's admiration. Respect comes from knowing you won't tolerate disrespect. It comes from boundaries that actually mean something. When someone disrespects you and you do nothing, you're teaching them that disrespecting you is free. You're literally training them to treat you badly. But when there's an immediate consequence, they lose access to you. They lose your help. They lose your presence. They learn real quick not to do it again. This is why the nicest people often get treated the worst. They've trained everyone that bad behavior has no consequences. They've made themselves safe to disrespect. But when you flip the script and make it clear that your time, attention, and energy have value, everything changes. Suddenly, people start watching their words around you. They start thinking before they act. They start treating you like someone who matters. The dark power of respect is that it's self-reinforcing. The more you demand it, the more you get it. The more you get it, the easier it becomes to demand it. Here's the key difference. When you demand to be liked, you're putting other people in control. But when you demand respect, you're in control. Because respect isn't something they give you. It's something you take by refusing to accept anything less. Think about the most respected people you know. Do they beg for respect? Do they explain why they deserve it? Never. They simply refuse to accept disrespect, and that refusal becomes their power. Drop this affirmation. My worth isn't debatable. Number 3, the psychology of control. Here's something that's going to blow your mind. Every single interaction you have is about control. And if you don't know who's in control, it's not you. Approval seekers hand over control without realizing it. Every time you modify your behavior to get someone's approval, you're giving them control over your actions. Every time you bite your tongue to avoid conflict, you're giving them control over your voice. Every time you say yes when you want to say no, you're giving them control over your choices. But people who don't need approval keep control. They speak their mind regardless of how others react. They make decisions based on what they want, not what others expect. This is why approval addiction is so dangerous. When you need other people's approval to feel okay about yourself, you've handed them the remote control to your emotions. When you desperately need someone to like you, you'll do almost anything to keep them happy. You'll change your opinions, hide parts of yourself, and compromise your values. That's not a relationship. That's slavery with extra steps. But when you don't need their approval, when you're perfectly fine with them disliking you if that's what it takes to stay true to yourself, now you have all the power because they can't use your need against you. This is the secret that confident people understand. They're confident because they don't let other people's opinions control their self-worth. They've made themselves psychologically untouchable. A great philosopher once wrote that everyone sees what you appear to be, but few experience what you really are. The moment you stop performing for others' approval, you become unpredictable. And unpredictability is power. What happens when you break free? First, people can't manipulate you anymore. Second, your decision-making becomes crystal clear. Third, your relationships improve dramatically. Not all of them. Some people will hate that they can't control you, and they'll disappear. Good. The relationships that survive are real ones based on mutual respect. Drop this affirmation. I control my worth. Number 4, the addiction to approval. Your need for approval isn't just a personality trait, it's an addiction. And like any addiction, it's being used against you. Here's how it works. Someone gives you a compliment or tells you you're great. Your brain releases dopamine, the same chemical released when people use drugs. You feel good. And just like any drug, once that high wears off, you need another hit. The people around you figure this out quick. They learn that a little bit of approval can get you to do almost anything. Need you to work late? Praise your work ethic. Need you to lend money? Compliment your generosity. They're literally using your brain chemistry against you. This is why approval addiction is so dangerous. It makes you easy to control. People know exactly which buttons to push. But people who don't need approval are impossible to manipulate this way. You can't control someone with compliments if they don't need compliments. The brutal truth about validation: it's cheap to give and expensive to receive. Anyone can tell you you're wonderful. It costs them nothing. But you need to hear it over and over from more and more people. You become dependent on something others control completely. The approval addict changes their personality depending on who they're with. They have different opinions in different groups. They become a collection of masks instead of a real person. Meanwhile, people who don't need approval stay consistent. They're the same person in every room. They express their real opinions regardless of how others react. And ironically, this authenticity makes them more respected and more genuinely liked than any people pleaser ever will be. But breaking approval addiction isn't easy. Your brain will fight you every step. You have to consciously choose to stop seeking approval, even when every fiber of your being wants to chase it. You have to be willing to be disliked, misunderstood, and criticized. Drop this affirmation: my validation comes from within. Number 5. The rules to command respect. Now the practical stuff. The rules that will transform you from someone who gets walked on to someone who commands respect without saying a word. Rule 1. Speak less, act more. Most people talk too much and do too little. People who command respect speak when they have something important to say and let their actions speak for them. When someone disrespects you, don't give them a speech. Just remove yourself. When someone breaks a boundary, don't explain why boundaries matter. Just enforce the consequence. Rule 2. Never chase approval. No matter how much you want someone to like you, never chase their approval. Don't text them repeatedly. Don't explain yourself when they seem upset. Don't try to win them over when they're being cold. Chasing approval broadcasts desperation. Instead, be indifferent to their opinion. This indifference is magnetic. Rule 3. Stay cold and calm under attack. When someone tries to provoke you, your reaction determines everything. If you get emotional, they win. But if you stay completely calm, if you respond with cold indifference or slight amusement, you've shown everyone that they can't touch you. You're psychologically bulletproof. Rule 4. Stay unpredictable. Predictable people are easily controlled. Keep people guessing. Sometimes be generous, sometimes ruthless. Sometimes social, sometimes distant. This unpredictability keeps others off balance and forces them to respect your autonomy. Rule 5. Enforce boundaries swiftly and silently. When someone crosses a line, the speed of your response matters more than the severity. Don't warn multiple times. Don't give second chances to the same behavior. Just implement the consequence immediately. This teaches everyone that your boundaries are real, not suggestions. Drop this affirmation: I am unmovable. Number 6. Scarcity and distance as power multipliers. Here's what most people get backwards. They think being constantly available makes them valuable. They think always saying yes makes them indispensable. They're wrong on every count. Scarcity creates value. Always has, always will. When something is rare, people want it more. When something is common, people take it for granted. When you're always available, you become background noise. They know you'll always be there, so they stop appreciating your presence. But when your time becomes scarce, when your attention becomes limited, suddenly people start treating these things like the precious resources they are. Think about the people who have the most social power in any group. Are they the ones who show up to everything? Never. They're the ones who show up when they want to, leave when they're ready, and say no without explanation. This is the power of strategic distance. Not being cold or cruel, but being selective about where you invest your energy. The less people see of you, the more they wonder about you. And curiosity is magnetic. Practically, instead of responding to every text immediately, respond when it's convenient. Instead of being available for every hangout, become selective about which invitations you accept. Instead of helping everyone who asks, help people who deserve it. This isn't about being rude. It's about understanding that your time and energy are finite resources. When you give these away freely to everyone, they become worthless. When you give them selectively to people who appreciate them, they become priceless. The beautiful thing about scarcity is that it's self-reinforcing. The less available you become, the more people want your attention. The more they want it, the better they treat you. The better they treat you, the more selective you can afford to be. You have to be willing to lose some people in this process. The people who only valued you because you were easy to access will disappear. Good. These weren't real relationships anyway. So what happens when you implement these principles? When you stop chasing approval and start commanding respect, everything changes. First, your relationships improve dramatically. Some people will hate the new you because they can't manipulate you anymore. But the relationships that survive become deeper and more genuine. Second, your confidence skyrockets. Real confidence that comes from knowing your worth isn't up for debate. Third, opportunities start coming to you instead of you chasing them. Fourth, your stress levels drop through the floor when you stop trying to manage everyone else's emotions.
But the most important change? You become psychologically free. Free from the exhausting cycle of seeking approval. Free to be authentically yourself, without apology or explanation. This transformation isn't instant. You'll be tempted to slip back into old patterns, but stick with it. Because on the other side of this discomfort is a version of yourself that commands respect without demanding it, who attracts genuine relationships without chasing them, who has real power without abusing it. The world is full of people desperately trying to be liked, but it's desperately short of people who command genuine respect. Which one do you choose to be? If you've made it this far, you're already different from most people. You're ready to make the change from someone who gets walked on to someone who gets respected. From someone who begs for approval to someone who doesn't need it. Remember, this isn't about becoming cold or cruel. It's about becoming strong. It's about understanding your worth and refusing to accept anything less than respect. The principles we've covered: speaking less and acting more, never chasing approval, staying calm under attack, remaining unpredictable, enforcing boundaries swiftly, and using scarcity strategically. These aren't just tactics. They're a way of life. The wise person does at once what the fool does finally. Don't wait until you've been walked on for years. Start today. Start now. Start with the very next interaction you have. Your future self, the one who commands respect, who has genuine relationships, who doesn't need anyone's approval to feel complete, is waiting for you to make this decision. If this video opened your eyes to how you've been giving your power away, smash that like button. If you know someone who needs to hear this message, share it with them right now. And if you want more content that cuts through the nonsense and gives you real tools for personal power, make sure you subscribe to this channel and hit the notification bell so you never miss a video. Every week, we bring you powerful psychology and mindset content that can genuinely change the way you move through this world. The journey from people pleaser to respected individual starts with a single step. You've just taken it by watching this video. Now take the next one by implementing what you've learned. Drop this final affirmation in the comments. Respect is my birthright. Remember, in a world full of people begging to be liked, the person who doesn't need approval holds all the cards. Be that person. Command the respect you deserve. And watch how everything in your life transforms when you finally stop giving your power away.